That I was never going to be another Ken Squire. I don't think anybody could rise to that level.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcasts 50 Years of MRN. Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, the 1993 season, Junior's Journey, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
NASCAR Xfinity Series rookie Shane Van Gisbergen has won the last two series races, both on the road courses of Portland International Raceway and Sonoma Raceway. The style of track in which he is most comfortable stemming from his Australian supercar roots. This week, the series heads back to the ovals and the Iowa Speedway, a weekend that Van Gisbergen is looking forward to due to the extra track time teams will get prior to the race.
I'm really looking forward to that because there's a long practice, 50 minutes, a couple of sets of tires. I can finally experiment a bit, take my time, get up to speed, then push. Whereas normally it's just a 20-minute rush session straight into qualifying. So
I'm Kyle Rickey. This is NASCAR Hot Pass on the Motor Racing Network.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on, Northwest Florida? You are now tuned in to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with AG back in the building with us and Caveman Rick. We're going to be having our 7-year send-off again today at 5:30 because right at 5:33 we'll be sending you to a commercial break and then to the Atlanta Braves to see if they can break their 4-game losing streak. I'm sure that we'll talk a little bit more about the Braves here in this opening segment as we just spent the last 10 to 15 minutes talking about the Braves and what they could do in the rest of Major League Baseball as well. Do you think we're going to have a wild trade deadline this year?
I do, 100%. There's a lot of teams that are just right on the cusp. And they're looking for that one or two more pieces to kind of solidify and bolster their 26. And then there's a lot of moving pieces that are going to be involved in terms of like not only major league ready players, but also minor leaguers.
So I just came up with a fun little segment that we could do here, which would be buy or sell at the trade deadline. For each
like
of the
who is
teams.
buying, who is selling?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get right back to that here in a second. I'll just pull up the standings and we'll go through some of those teams. But 7-year send-off today at 5:30 before we send you off to the Atlanta Braves. All you got to do is be caller number 10, calling the number 850-215-6290 when we give you the cue to call. You automatically win a sweet qualifying prize, and then you'll go into the grand prize drawing to win an all-inclusive trip to see the Braves take on the Toronto Blue Jays. That game will be Saturday, September 7th. Comes with your hotel, your spending cash, food and beverage at the game, and some great seats in the Xfinity Club. And with this particular promotion, you can qualify as many times as you like to increase your chances of winning. That's brought to you by PCB Hobby, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas Drive, and by Home 2 Suites. Did see earlier, I think traffic over there, Carolina Beach, is going to be backed up for a little while. The Bay County Sheriff's Office responded to a shooting that happened at 124, so about 2.5 hours ago. Today, the incident happened near the entrance to Carolina Beach on the west end of Panama City Beach. They do say that they have a suspect in custody, and the law enforcement reports that the victim suffered a gunshot wound to the chest, and he has been taken to the hospital there. So I don't have any other information on that. If any of you do out there are investigative listeners, text it in to us, 850-215-6290. Obviously, thoughts and prayers go out to the victim who suffered the gunshot wound to the chest. We are 85 days away from the NFL season. Cannot wait about it. We've been going over a list of 100 things to know about the NFL season, and we'll dive now into the MVP odds. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, plus 500, leading the way, and he won the MVP in 2018, 2022. AG, what do you think here? Patrick Mahomes, is this a back-to-back MVP candidate. Wait, did he?
Lamar won it last year.
Lamar got his second MVP award. So do you think it's Patrick Mahomes this year or the field?
I mean, you got to take the field, right? There's too many other variables
Way too many
out
names.
there. I mean, obviously he's the leader in the clubhouse, and he should be perennially. So there's no doubting his ability and his success. So. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but at this point, I'm still taking the field.
There you go. I'm probably in the same position. What about you, Caveman Rick?
Definitely the field, and why not Lamar go for 2? If not him, somebody else. Hey, why not my boy Jalen Hurts? Maybe he can have an opportunity.
There you go. Lamar getting back to back, or Jalen Hurts could be there. I mean, I think the most wild to win would be Josh Allen. Just because of
shot with everything happening,
that's
inspiring new wide receivers and the past bad luck, I guess, if you want to call it, that he's had in the playoffs and just not being able to seal the deal.
Attrition in the red zone.
Yeah. A lot of turnovers.
Yes, but yeah, I don't know what his odds are, but we'll get to him as we move down this list. I think the next 5 or 6 days are all about MVP odds.
How about this? You got CMC, you got McCaffrey on the Madden cover, right?
Yeah.
And you got Madden Jinx, and he's a guy that's been kind of injury prone throughout his career. So I wonder if the Madden curse takes effect, because if not, that could be your MVP if he stays healthy all year right there.
So the Madden curse has been kind of
squashed. I mean, Josh Allen last year, right?
I would say to some extent it's been squashed. I wouldn't say squashed. It has taken a turn for the better. There hasn't been as many Madden curses to the cover athlete in the last 4 to 5 years as there was in the first 10 years.
Like Allen wasn't hurt, but he had a bad season. So, I mean...
So there were symptoms, not necessarily a terminal diagnosis.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still, ailments and elements to that affecting you, I think.
However, with him being a running back, I do think that it rears its ugly head again this year.
It could possibly. He's not getting any younger.
But last
year, he's not getting any younger. He's taking a lot of abuse, right? I mean, they're doing their best to spell him in games, and when they get up big in the fourth quarter, you don't see him. So they're doing what they can to save him for, the remainder of the season. But he's not getting any younger. And we see running backs, right, when they get right around his age, what do? They either retire or they get cut, and we never see them again.
Right.
I'm not saying what's going to happen with CMC. He's a generational talent, but I think what you're going to see is them protecting him more because of his age and the wear and tear.
And I would if I'm the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, it's Super Bowl or bust for the 49ers, right? Brock Purdy, if he comes back his full off season, as being healthy, ready for 2024 here. So you bring him back. You got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, that kind of conversation right now. Which guy is still going to be there by the time that the season starts? Or do they end up trading Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk near the trade deadline? Who knows? The addition of Ricky Pearsall through the draft. Will the defense be able to be as dominant as it's been in the past? So there you go. What you got, Rick?
Well, I was looking here. How about Aaron Rodgers plus 2,000? What do we think about that? Him coming back off the Achilles. I mean, he's got the weapons there in New York, and there's a lot of promise and anticipation of him coming back. What do you think of his chances of getting MVP?
I mean, he's probably going to be a top 10 pick. I mean, if he stays healthy, obviously anything above 4 plays this season is a victory, right? Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how he comes back. Again, he's another one that...
above him. He's number 11 on the list if you go in order.
Okay. So he probably won't even make this list here. As far as the need to know MVP is like for the 100 things that you need to know for the season, he probably won't be on this list, which I think plus 2,000, if I were to be able to find those odds for him to win comeback player of the year, I would lock that in and put a large sum of money on that, because I do think he'll end up being comeback player of the year. MVP is a total possibility as well, though. It's just going to be a convoluted race for that. And then also you got guys like Aaron Rodgers knows what his contract's going to be, right? This is to his last year of his rookie contract, and it's time for the Dolphins to make a decision. Could you see an outstanding year from Tua? Josh Allen.
Have a contract.
Dak doesn't.
He's lame duck.
Right, and Dak last year played MVP caliber football until the postseason. And we're not talking about a postseason award here. We're talking about the regular season. So there's a bunch of guys. Now, is there any non-quarterbacks that we're interested in this year for MVP? Like, is there a guy like Jamar Chase who T. Higgins?
I'll give you an off the wall name.
Okay. Oh, I like off the wall here.
And it's not necessarily off the wall in terms of, we don't know who this person is, but Stephon Diggs going down to Houston and catching balls from C.J. Stroud. All right, we saw what C.J. Stroud was able to do last year with Tank Dell, and that whole cast of crew down there.
We just got a text that said Bryce Young for MVP in 2025.
That's off the wall.
Roll Tide, my friend.
I hope he has success, right? I do. I like the kid, but
MVP
you look at Stephon Diggs finally getting to a place I think where he wants to be. We thought he wanted to be in Buffalo, and then that was short-lived, and now he's going to a place where he has a young up-and-coming quarterback that is looking to still prove himself as well. It could be a really, really good year.
And in a very winnable division with what you would like to think, at least for the Titans' pass defense is going to be better than what it was last year with the addition of L'Jarius Sneed. You would like
and
to
Jarvis
think so.
Brownlee, who picked off Levis yesterday.
There you go. And Awuzie. Yeah.
Here's another outside the box, too. New coach, but we see him make big changes. What about Justin Herbert? I know you're a hater there, Adam, but am I
a hater if I just spit facts? And that's where that's where I can't argue with you on that much on the topic, because a lot of what you say is valid in what you're saying. It's just like we can see the talent, but then when you get there to crunch time and there's just something missing, as you like to put it. Speaking of Bryce Young with MVP, that was for most valuable pillow, because he's going to probably get sacked a whole lot more this year.
He'll probably be the most valuable Panther.
Or most valuable Panther, most valuable potato, whatever way you want to take it. So there you have it for our 100 things to know for the NFL season, 85 days away, and kind of went off on a few tangents there, but always love talking some NFL football. Best of Bay voting running until June 24th. Head over to ESPNPC.com, click on the little link that says Best of Bay, and then go vote for all of our shows here. I think you can vote. I've been saying 5 times a day. I believe it's only 1 time a day, so you need to create 5 emails in order to vote 5 days away or 5 times a day. So you guys make that happen. Get one of these shows here from ESPN Northwest Florida into the top 3 and possibly have us winning the whole shebang. Best of Bay. Go to ESPNPC.com and get your vote on. Braves getting shut out by the Orioles last night, 4-0. Didn't watch a lick of that game. Didn't even have any intentions. I did have flag football practice last night with the youngins. By the time I got back, the game was already over anyways, and 4-0, a little blanking there. 4-game losing streak going now for the Braves. It's going to be Schwellenbach going tonight, who's 0-2, 8.38, beautiful ERA there, 9 strikeouts. He's going up against Cade Povich, who is 0-1 with a higher ERA of 10.13, and he's got 2 strikeouts on the year. Baltimore 22-12 at the house with a 44-22 record overall, and they're 32-3 in games when they've scored 5 or more runs, which is a little bit better than the one that we had about the Braves a couple weeks ago. Is like if they have 2 hits, if they score 2 runs or more, they're so-and-so. But the Braves absolutely this is 1 game under 500. Not so good on the road this year, though. 16-17. They have the 8th ranked team batting average in the NL at 243, but over the last 10 games, they're 4-6. They have a batting average just 7 points above the Mendoza line. Their ERA is 4.98, and they've been outscored by 11 runs, and it's even worse than that if you go to like the last 22 games. It's wild to witness after all the success that you saw in the regular season last year.
Let me posit a theory to you. Okay, a little conspiracy theory for you Braves fans.
I love it.
I'm going to throw you an olive branch, a limb, something you can kind of hang to. Okay?
All right.
Everybody's talking about these dead balls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Reds game last night playing the Guardians. Jake Fraley hits a bomb to center. It's 104 off the bat. It goes 400 and some odd feet, but it doesn't go out of the ballpark. We've seen that a number of times throughout baseball.
Yeah. Unless you're Aaron Judge.
He's unreal. Dude, I'm telling you, anybody that says that he's not the best player in baseball right now, you need to actually watch a Yankees game, because what that dude does is absolutely phenomenal on the baseball field. Especially in the
on
batter's
the offensive,
box.
yeah.
Especially in the batter's box. But anyway, how much is the dead ball actually affecting the Atlanta Braves, right? With their run production, not getting, I don't know what their contact rate is versus, exit velos and things like that this year versus last year. But if they're comparable and they're not scoring as many runs as they did last year and hitting as many home runs, maybe that's a factor.
Are getting a text in from Brandon. Traffic at Carolina is clear right now. He also goes on to text that you need Acuna back. Ronald, listen, he is a huge plus to any lineup. Was not having the greatest of seasons. Last year, he cut his strikeouts down so much, and then this year he's right back to where he was the year prior to that. So it was one of those situations where, yes, the addition of Ronald Acuna Jr., having him in the lineup is going to be huge, but right now the Braves are struggling, and that olive branch that you're trying to give me, I'll hold on to it, right? Because the dead ball is something that we're seeing, and for a team that is reliant on the home run like the Atlanta Braves were last year, that is a big deal. But if it's not working, if that's not working, if the home run ball isn't working for you, then you've got to figure out another way to get it in play. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these teams are playing with the same balls, right? At least let's say when you're playing against each other, you would like to think that they're not swapping in. Oh, here's some Goldilocks, here's some dead balls. Here, you know what I mean? So,
the Reds went on a 7-game win streak, right? Earlier last week, and so I noticed a lot of what they were doing during that winning streak, obviously, is they were playing better baseball, but it was more old school, right? It was get them on, get them over, get them in. They were sacrifice bunting. They were stealing bags. They were trying to get motion going on the field any way they can. They were playing some small ball. I'm curious to see if we're going to start seeing teams kind of maybe maneuvering that way, right? Because everybody talked about them canceling the shift and batting averages are just going to go through the roof, and the slugging percentage is going to go through the roof. We're at the worst OPS in baseball since 1989.
I don't even think the Braves.
And there's no shift. So how does that work?
Is it the pitching now?
Is it dead ball?
I don't know. Like we were talking, I told Dave last night. Skeens was pitching last night, right?
Yeah,
he's incredible.
And the dude's got
legit.
Like 4 of the top 5 games this season that got, I think it was like 39 or more pitches of 99 plus. The other one, Hunter Green, is on that list. And just maybe just the pitching's just so good right now. That's just knocking down the batting averages.
I think there might be some of that because pitching has been really, really good across the league, especially with guys coming up like Paul Skeens, and you got Mason Miller over there in Oakland, who
look at some of these
is arguably
ERAs.
the best closer in baseball.
Like Phillies, there's like a handful of teams out there. The whole team ERA is like 1.4, 1.5. That's good.
Oh, it's great. 100%. So that's what I'm saying, though. Does that lend itself more toward there being an actual dead ball?
I don't know. The way they've messed with balls before in the past kind of makes you wonder, too.
That's what bothers me about it. Not that it bothers me, but it's every year it's a dead ball. Oh, it's a live ball. You know what I mean? Which one do we actually
don't put
have?
any junk on that ball.
But players can
there
tell.
You go.
Like they say, you can take like a pitcher, for instance, give them like a pillowcase, put some balls in there from 20 years ago, put some balls like brand new from today, and they can stick their hand in there and they can pull a ball out. You tell them what's the old ball, what's the new ball, pull one out, just by feel. They know what they're grabbing, what the ball should feel like, so they got to know. People have got to know that there's a difference.
Well, but I think that, all right, when you're making these balls these days, right, they're going to feel the same. The only difference is going to be what's at the very core of that ball.
Or how long it was in the humidor. Or
maybe. So
there
I
are
still
those.
get it, though, but
there are those now, and then here's the other thing is that we're getting there, but we haven't really hit that stretch of the season where the balls really start to fly. So if home runs don't go up here in the month of, we're 12 days into June though. So if they don't go up this month and into July, then there's got to be something. And we talked to Sam about this last week. I forget what day it was, but he's like, yes, the numbers are showing, and it's not just a Braves thing, it's a baseball thing. The numbers are showing that right now we are utilizing a dead ball.
How unfair is that, though, to somebody like the Atlanta Braves? And again, I'm not a Braves apologist.
What is fair for?
But listen, I'm not a Braves apologist. You know this.
Right.
But at the same time, though, like, if the Braves are built on the long ball, which They
are.
By all intents and purposes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, the ball's dead. Right? How is that right? How is that? I mean, like, obviously, you're a pro, make an adjustment. But at the same time, though, when you're looking at across Major League Baseball, aside from Gunnar Henderson and Aaron Judge, there's really not a whole lot of home runs being hit.
I mean, Marcell Ozuna's up there with them, 18.
Yeah, right?
What do you
that
got?
leads
Judge
the National League. Judge is 25.
25. What do you have? 6 in the first month, I believe. Mm-hmm. Then he had 14 last month, and then he's got 5. That's 25.
He's hitting 314, I think, right now.
He's hitting 533 in this month.
His OPS is 1.15.
The Braves slugged over 500 last year. They're like 300.
Yeah.
This year is just, oh man, tough. But yeah, home runs. It would be interesting to see where home runs are right now compared to where they were this time last year, But I think even more so, take the home runs out of the whole equation and just look at the pitching. Like, is pitching in general better right now? So I don't know. It's a question that we can't answer until we talk to Sam Peebles, I guess. And that'll be sometime this week. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're actually going to be talking a little wrestling coming up next with Val Solorio and Derek Williams, 2 champions in the building with us.
For 7 years, ESPN Northwest Florida has been your destination on the Panhandle for the Atlanta Braves.
He just blew the doors off that thing.
But our listeners are the real MVP.
Another dominating performance.
So this year, we're giving away more tickets to Truist Park than ever before. Keep listening to win family 4-packs to experience the Atlanta Braves. From ESPN Northwest Florida, PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas, and Home 2 Suites.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, possible thunderstorms and mostly sunshine, and a temperature of 90 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the southwest. Mostly clear skies tonight and warm near 77. A mixture of mostly sunshine and likely thunderstorms, and 90 tomorrow. 92 and sunshine most of the day aside from possible thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hello, this is Rick Vossen with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Life can take us so many places. And at Panama City Toyota, we're here to make sure every drive is worth every minute.
Maybe you want a fun, fuel-efficient car for everyday driving. Or you need a dependable vehicle that really gets the job done. Sometimes it's all about answering the call of the wild. And when you're ready to shop, reserve your vehicle online and choose your options. Or we'll help you in person, even if you started the process at home.
Whatever works for you, always works for us.
From the pros to the future pros, we're your home team station for home team sports. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Wow! ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. This is the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with AG and Caveman Rick. Again, it's the Afternoon Underdogs. And this next segment is going to be a lot of fun as always. We've had Val Solorio on before with us. Derek Williams has been on with us on the Inside Drive. Derek Williams just won state championship this last year in wrestling with Bozeman. Val Solorio going back to Pennsylvania, getting the job done up there. Let's start off with Fargo Nationals, though. That's coming up this summer. So tell us a little bit about that and what goes into that. And you guys are looking for sponsors for that as well, right? Yeah, so Val, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing there in North Dakota?
Well, we're going to Fargo to chase stop signs, and for those of you that don't know what that is, whenever you win a national title,
they give you a plaque that's like a stop sign. So you say you're chasing stop signs. All the
Okay.
places below the national title get smaller stop signs, but you really want that big one. You want a dinner plate.
That dinner plate.
That's what you want.
How many stop signs you got?
So far only one, but I'm looking to go back and get another one. Last year I went back and I took second, so I got like a little salad plate.
There you
I'm just
go.
trying to get another dinner plate this year, you know?
There you go.
Like
Get another
rodeo
dinner
belt
plate.
buckles.
Rodeo belt buckles, yeah. Stop. How many stop signs you got, Derek?
I unfortunately haven't won any yet.
Get a little bit closer to that mic.
I haven't won any stop signs yet. I'm planning on winning one this year. I'm trying to. Yeah.
What weight class are you in, Derek?
120.
120. And how? What about for you, Val?
I'm going 100 this year, just like usual. Haven't really grown much, and my college weight is projected to be 103, so I'm just staying around the same weight.
All right, there you go. So 2-time state winner. And again, well, let's go back to stick with Fargo for a second. For those who might be interested, someone out there listening who might be interested in sponsoring you guys, who would they get up with? How would they make that happen?
They could get up on Facebook with Nate Solorio or Andy Siegel, as well as just getting on Facebook and looking for our GoFundMes. I will have more information on those later, but they'll be under those Facebook pages.
All right, sweet. And another way that you guys can make that happen is by texting us here, 850-215-6290. I'll get you hooked up there with Coach Siegel or with that's your dad, right? Nate
Yeah,
Solorio?
yeah.
Yeah, great stuff there. So you're a 2-time state winner now. You won here in Florida, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yes.
And then you went back up there to Pennsylvania, your hometown, Cannon, McMillian. Which state was tougher to bring home gold in?
I'll be
dinner
honest,
plates?
both of
Is that
them were
different?
pretty tough. Florida put a lot of pressure on me just because the first time I won the state title here was the first time that it was sanctioned.
Yeah.
And that was a lot to take in at such a young age. Being 15 years old, that's a lot. You know, all that pressure on you to be the first. I went back to Pennsylvania and I won it my junior year as well, but it wasn't sanctioned. I went back this year, my senior year, when they had sanctioned the state title one more time, but in Pennsylvania, with the goal of being the first PIAA sanctioned girls state champion. And that's what I did to make it happen. I would say it was a little bit tougher for me though in Pennsylvania this year, just because I had to move all the way up there out of my comfort zone a little bit in a new area that I haven't really wrestled in the high school scene. It's a lot tougher. The schedule's a lot more packed, and it was just a lot of going back and forth and training. You know, everything there is just a little bit different.
Yeah.
You get out of practice and it's already nighttime, so it takes a lot to want to win there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And Derek, you were the first state champion in Bozeman's history. What did that honor mean to you?
It meant a lot, you know, waking up, running in the mornings, and then having to go practice, and then another practice after that. I really didn't lift weights all through high school, and at the start, it was at Bozeman and summer practices for football. I lifted a little bit, and then summer practice ended, and they didn't really make us lift weights, and I don't like lifting weights.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to go do acrobatics like cartwheels and hand walks on the mat. So switching into that, it took a lot, and then once I got into it, it was fun switching over to Bozeman with my dad, coaching me in the corner where at Bay the previous year I lost in the finals.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot to win it, and then of course their first state champ. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome, and to be able to do it with your dad. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure how much do your guys' dads mean to you, and keep pushing you. Like that's how important is having a strong support system in such a tough sport like the sport of wrestling.
I'd say it's one of the hardest things. You know, it's a sport that mentally beats you up and it's not very forgiving. If you lose, it feels like it's all on you. If you win, you feel like it's all on you. But it really just takes a village. You know, we have Derek's dad who coaches us during practice, my dad who really puts together the plans as to where we're going and what we need to do to get there. So it just takes a whole support system. And then having Derek as a partner has always been like a really big thing for me. Having someone that'll push me to my limits and I know I'll push him to his. And we have each other every single day, travel together, go to all these big things together, and, you know, just try to do our best, you know, just to better our lives and better our careers.
Yeah, and it takes that a lot, right? To you got to have someone who's in your corner, who's pushing you. That, and so for you, Derek, how does Val push you?
She's fast and very flexible, whereas in men they're not. So like, as in freestyle, you have after you get a takedown, you have to roll them. And with females, it's harder to turn their hips than men because they bend easier and without exposing their back. So I mean, it works a lot. And then along with her footwork, it's hard to keep up with. And then her timing, defending her shots, and of course making her better and attacking constantly. making sure she's getting better at the same time. It helped me a lot.
There you go. Do y'all keep a record against each other?
I think we used to a little while ago.
What happened, Derek? What happened? You just smiled as soon as I asked that.
She can't touch me no more.
Oh, is that what it is?
All right. Going on.
Do we got a mat anywhere in here, Randy? Can we get this going? What makes wrestling, in your guys' opinion, y'all have been doing this for a long time, what makes wrestling the best sport out there?
I mean, in my opinion, I just like knowing that I can train my butt off and I can work as hard as I can and I can run through any bracket that I want. I like seeing like a list of names and knowing like, oh, I can take this person, and this person out. Just something about climbing the ladder and getting to the top and trying to stay there has always been my favorite thing. Working towards a goal and then seeing it come true is just something unmatchable for me.
What about for you, Derek?
For me, it's more of an individual sport. It's just me and another person on the mat. It's not the team. I'm under a team. I was under Bozeman, but it wasn't the whole wrestling team wrestling this whole other wrestling team to win the state title. It was me and another kid in the circle. And coming up, I played football, and I was a really small kid. So it was like I didn't win a lot, I'm going to be honest. And it hurt me, where when I got into wrestling, it was just me. So if I lost, it wasn't because the receiver didn't catch the ball or something like that. It was because I didn't take a shot or I didn't sprawl here, get my elbow down, get to my feet, this, and that. And that's what made it my favorite sport.
There you go, man. It's full accountability at that point, because if you take the loss, it's on you, but if you get the win, it is all the glory there for you. What would you guys say your favorite style of wrestling is? Derek, let's start with you.
My favorite style is Greco. It's all upper bodies. You throw with your upper bodies. Once you hit the ground, of course, if you get thrown or get taken down, you got to parterre, which means lay flat and you can't get rolled, just like freestyle. You can't expose your back or it's 2 points. Feet to back is 4 points. And then if you can get a good arch and get them to land on their neck, it's 5 points. Regular takedowns, 2 points. That's my favorite style. You don't have to get in a stance. You don't have to worry about the long kids grabbing your legs and all that. So you can just lock them up and throw. That's my favorite style of wrestling.
There you go. What about for you, Val?
I don't have the benefit of wrestling Greco just because girls don't do Greco yet, even though I've tried my luck at it, and I'll say it's definitely the hardest, and having Derek as a partner, I've experienced my fair share of getting thrown, which has helped me because my favorite style is freestyle, which is very similar. So you try to take someone down, and if you turn them at a 90-degree angle, you score 2 points.
Okay.
The goal is to take someone down and roll them as many times as you can in order to get up to 10 points. Once you beat them by 10 points, the match is over, or obviously you try to pin them. My favorite thing to do is I like to slide by somebody and take their back, lock up my hands and throw them over my head and make like a rainbow. I love my 5-point throws. I love seeing someone land on their neck and know, yes, I did that.
Yeah, amen, sister. Amen. That was I like the graphic detailed explanation there.
I wouldn't know how to do that if it wasn't for Derek doing it to me a few times. So
did it?
Yeah, I picked it up. Eventually, you learn how to do it.
Hey, there you go, man. That's good. I like the teamwork that you guys have together. Let's see here. Again, with Fargo Nationals, what are the dates for that? When does that start for you guys?
The dates for us, I believe, are June 12th through the 18th. I know the girls is June 12th through 14th. Or July.
I was about to say, you're supposed to be there.
I think that's tomorrow, right?
It's a date. It is June 12th.
We'd be a little messed over if that was the case. No, I know for girls it's July 12th through 14th, and I believe boys would be the 16th through the 20th.
Okay, all right. And how many do we have from this area that's headed up there? Is it just y'all two?
I believe it really is just me and Derek heading up there from the Panhandle that I know of. And then everyone else is from Central and Southern Florida.
And we need about $1,700. That's what we're trying to raise per wrestler right here. So
or more, right?
Or more, absolutely. Yeah. The more, the better here. So, and we are in the age of high school. I know you guys aren't high school athletes anymore, but NIL. How do you guys what's like the talk in the high school ranks right now about NIL being a part of Florida high school athletics?
Well, you can get scholarships and get paid to wrestle in NIL, so that's a big thing, and they just passed it in Florida. That's big. I was looking into it, me personally. Of course, after I finished my FAFSA, that's something I was actually looking into. Go wrestle NIL and try to work up from there with the transfer portals and all that.
There you go. There you go. And you're going to be going to Iowa. Now, has Iowa, are they just starting this program?
This program has been a thing for about 2 years now, but the first year, all the girls are wrestling unattached because the school wasn't sanctioned yet.
What does that mean, unattached? Like
a club team?
Yeah, like a club team, basically.
Gotcha.
This past year was their first inaugural year, and they finished out by winning the team individuals national title and the team duels national title.
Gotcha.
As well as having so many girls go on to win the national tournament for freestyle and make world teams, and a handful go and make the Pan Am teams, meaning they took second place. So I'm going into a team full of hitters, and I'm just doing my best and kind of using Fargo as a way to hold myself accountable and try to win a national title there. That way I go on all my P's and Q's ready to go, trying to make that starting lineup and bring home a national title in college, my first year.
And how tough is it? You know, we talk all the time about just making it to any level, collegiately speaking. I don't care if it's D3, D2, D1, NAIA, whatever. That's so impressive in any sport. How much tougher is it in the sport of wrestling to get to that next level? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people can continue on with it because there's not as many wrestling clubs or wrestling
right. So
schools.
the competition isn't there's not 50,000 football
isn't
players.
as big, yeah.
Right. Yeah, the pool is not as large. So,
but at the same time, there's still a lot of wrestlers at the high school level, though, right? Like a ton of them.
There's not nearly as many college programs. We actually don't have any even like SEC schools here in the South. So anytime you want to wrestle, you're going, anywhere north, Midwest, you're going to the West Coast, you're going up north, you're going anywhere but where we're at, which makes it really tiring and really hard to find a program. You really have to get out there to these tournaments like Fargo in order to get scouted. And not going can really affect, how your college career goes. As for getting onto a college team, that's really insane. Just because, think about it, like what Derek said earlier, there's only one person on the mat. It's not your whole team winning. It's you and another person, and whoever wins that division is going to win that division. Whenever colleges are recruiting, there's so many colleges, and they're going to pluck one kid from each weight class, which means, Derek's state bracket was how many kids? I'm not even sure. But a team has to pluck like one kid. They pick their one kid for the division that they're wrestling, and that's that. So you really have to be on your P's and Q's, and it's not even just a wrestling thing. You have to have the right effort, the right personality, the right wrestling ability, and you have to be coachable above all.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, being coachable, that's a tough trait to have, especially when we're younger, and it's kind of like we're mentally strong and got a lot of mental fortitude there. What does a day look like training for Derek Williams?
Well, here recently, it's been kind of out of sorts with my new job.
Yeah.
I'm working for Lawn Trust. We actually cut the grass here.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. So
hey, next time you come, just tell boss man, like, hey, hold on, they need to see me real quick, and we'll hook you up with some waters and Gatorades and get you on the air with us.
Yeah. So I wake up at 5 and I run till 5:30, 5:45, and then I'll shower, get ready for work, leave for work about 6:30. Go to work from 7 to about 4 to 5, anywhere around there. And then I'll get home, shower again, go to practice from 6:30 to 8, and then go home, shower, eat.
Your water bill's got to be through the roof.
Yeah, I got to stay clean. I can't have impetigo off of the mat and all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. So I was checking out some of your stuff. You have a question?
No, I'm just enjoying listening,
all right,
man.
Cool. So I was checking out some of your stuff on Flow Wrestling and saw a couple of your matches, but you interviewed California's Isabella Marie Gonzalez. I just wanted to ask the question, do you enjoy being the interviewer or the interviewee more? Do you enjoy answering or asking questions more?
Well, it's definitely a different thing for me. I've been used to being interviewed for so long that I've observed the interviewer, and I kind of gave it a shot as to interviewing someone. It was actually a lot tougher. You can't ever anticipate what they're going to say or how to bounce back on what question to ask next.
Build,
So it was really tough because, you have like this line that you're trying to build to go through, and then you don't know how they're going to answer, and it kind of might take you through a different way, on top of just being nervous and not knowing when they're done talking. It was really weird.
And it's different doing it because y'all weren't in person with each other. Y'all were doing, was it a Zoom interview?
Yeah, it was a Zoom interview.
Yeah. And then
can I ask an ignorant question?
Yeah, of course.
Who is Isabella Marie Gonzalez?
She's him, actually. No, I'm just kidding. She's really amazing. She's won nationals a handful of times.
By her saying that, she's saying like that's
no. In the female version of that, I've been told it's Herm.
Herm. She's Herm.
Okay,
I've not heard that. All right, that's Still
She
sounds
is.
like
She's
she's
amazing.
him.
She's amazing. She's from California, and she's headed to Worlds this year, chasing a world title. She has, a handful of national titles under her, state titles, and she's only a junior. I interviewed her because I just admire her career so far, and she's maintained being the #1 girl in the country for the past 2 years, I believe. So I thought that was really impressive, and I just really wanted to interview her and see how, days in her life go.
And what, is she still in high school, or?
She's going into her senior year this year.
So then after this year, then we're going to get a match set up between the two of you guys?
I wish, but she beats me by a few pounds. She's a couple weight classes above me.
Okay, all right. Derek, what would be your message to youngins out there who would like to become a state champion?
Consistency is key. Every morning, repeat your same cycle. Go to practice, run when you have to run. If you have to lose weight, make sure you lose weight at a good rate. Don't just cut it last second.
Yeah.
Don't bulk all week and then 2 days before the tournament go lose weight as much as you can. Consistency is key is all I have to say.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to sum that up. And what about for you, Val? Your message to young ladies who would like to wrestle and possibly become a state champ? I don't know if you can give the advice on how to do it in 2 states. That seems really tough. But just to get into the sport of wrestling and possibly become a champion.
I would say be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to be put in situations you've never been through before. Just be comfortable being uncomfortable and pushing all of your limits. Anytime you feel comfortable doing something, you're probably not doing it right. You need to push a little bit harder. As soon as you get to that uncomfortable point and you get comfortable there, push a little bit harder, and eventually you're going to reach greatness.
Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Consistency is key. That really is gold. I mean, I get so impressed by you every time that we have you in because I feel like you grow so much, mentally speaking, you know what I mean? And then obviously your accolades. Derek, this is the second time I've been around you. You seem to be a little bit more talkative this time as well, my man. So they're teaching great
old
stuff.
Underdogs new tricks.
Yeah, exactly. So she's him. There you go. There you go. Val is him. Derek is him as well. Wow, you guys are very impressive. So again, Fargo Nationals. That's coming up, and right now we're looking for sponsors. So for any of you out there who would like to help these youngins get up there to Fargo, North Dakota, we are looking for sponsors. We need to get raised about $1,700 here. So you can go on Facebook. You can get up with Andy Siegel or Nate Solorio. You guys can text us here 850-215-6290, and we'll get you in contact with them. And your dad's coaching as well?
Yes, sir.
Great stuff, man. I know that it's important for you guys to have, and I'm sure that it makes the trips more fun too, to be able to have your family there with you guys. So congratulations to y'all, and definitely get back up with us when we get a report from what you guys have going on. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so
All right,
much.
Val Solorio, Derek Williams, 2 of the finest wrestlers here in Florida, Pennsylvania, and the rest of America. Dadgummit. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout. We'll be right back with some trivia.
ESPN Northwest Florida is celebrating 7 years of broadcasting history by giving you a chance to win the Atlanta Braves 7-year send-off.
That is gone!
Listen weekdays at 7:40, 12:40, and 5:40 to qualify for the grand prize. 2 amazing tickets in the Xfinity Club to see the Atlanta Braves Saturday, September 7th versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Plus hotel and spending cash from ESPN Northwest Florida, PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas, and Home 2 Suites.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back here in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. Man, that was great stuff. Derek Williams from Bozeman.
Impressive young people.
Oh, no doubt, dude. And again, that's the second time that we've had Derek on. And last time we had Derek and his dad was in the building with us as well. And that was just, it was fun because you see like he mentioned, like Derek mentioned, in the year prior, he makes it to the final, but his dad's not, on the mat with him. He's not in his corner and falls one match short of gold. Then he transfers over there to Bozeman, and his dad is in his corner, and they get the job done, man. So I know that was special for him. I know it was special for Val to win a state championship here and then go back up to where she grew up and fell in love with the sport of wrestling in Pennsylvania at Cannon McMillan and getting the job done there. I mean, just crazy stuff. And to do all of that while you're traveling the country essentially, or the state that you're in, and then you still have your academics going on. And as they're about to go to Fargo, and we're learning about what they do. With Derek, he's cutting grass. With Val, she's cleaning condos. It's like, golly. And y'all talk about waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That was a great segment to make me feel like a lazy bum.
Yeah, but you know what? I've got 20 years on them almost. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
There you go, man. There you go. So
but no, impressive. Very, very impressive. And we wish them nothing but the best. And hopefully they both come out victorious up there in Fargo. So
yeah, we're definitely rooting for them. There's no doubt about that. We'll keep you guys updated on what's going on. And again, seriously, if you know any businesses out there, it's $3,400 total, right? $1,700 for these guys to get up there.
$4,000.
$4,000. Let's call it $4,000. We need to raise that before July so that they can get up there and put on. And especially, Val's headed to Iowa, but Derek, this could be an opportunity for him to get a college scholarship 100%. Out of this, and that would be huge.
Visibility is key.
Yeah, and then what does that do? What do those kind of things do, right? Now you've got people who went to your school or whatever, like Derek with Bozeman, right? And so he gets an opportunity to go wrestle somewhere. Well, now Bozeman's kind of on the map. And it helps other guys and gals get to the next level. Trivia question: how many pitches did the longest at bat in Major League Baseball history last? Now there is one spring training game that's actually more than this, but we're talking regular season or postseason. How many pitches did the longest at bat in Major League Baseball history last? 850-215-6290, and we're going to be giving away $25 to not the but that boot store. We'll play a little on this day while we are waiting for a call. On this day in 1928, Lou Gehrig has 14 total bases in a 15-7 Yankees win over the White Sox. Gehrig finished with 2 triples, 2 homers in the win.
1950, Major League Baseball names Connie Mack as honorary manager of the American League in the All-Star Game.
And in 1954, the Milwaukee Brewers pitcher Jim Wilson pitches the season's only no-hitter in a 2-0 win over my Phillies. Boo.
And it wasn't the Brewers at that point. It was the Braves.
Oh, my.
And hey, listen, if the Braves were having a good season, I wouldn't have even said something about that.
But you're going to take everything you can get right now, right?
And it's got it right here in front of me, but I'm just,
Well, you're trained. You're trained now, right?
Conditioned.
There you go. And I mean, anytime I see Milwaukee, I think Brewers anyway. Right. So, 1957, Stan Musial extends his consecutive games played streak to, I almost said 1957, 823, setting a new National League mark.
In 1981, 13 games are canceled in the major leagues due to the players' strike.
And in 1983, the Detroit Tigers retired the numbers of Charlie Gehringer and Hank Greenberg in a ceremony at Tiger Stadium.
2001, the Dodgers' Gary Sheffield becomes the first player in Major League history to win 3 1-0 games in a season with a home run when he hits a solo shot to beat Atlanta. I was sitting here thinking, like, Gary Sheffield wasn't a pitcher. What the world are we talking about?
I'm assuming solo shots?
Yeah, once I finished reading that, then it started to make sense there. What do you got for 07?
2007, Justin Verlander throws the 6th no-hitter in Detroit Tigers history against the Milwaukee Brewers.
There you go.
All right, in 2012, Alex Rodriguez ties Lou Gehrig with his 23rd career grand slam off Braves reliever Johnny Venters. Nick Swisher adds a 2-run shot later in the inning, giving the Yankees a 6-4 win.
Swisher was one of those guys, man. No matter where he was playing, he was a guy that I just kind of rooted for. You know, he's kind of like the A.J. Przenski of the outfield.
Less attitude.
Less attitude, but still a little bit of it. Like a cool attitude.
Like after his career and we got on TV, he was just one of those dudes. Like, I don't know. Like,
you didn't like Swisher?
No, he was all right. But like, man, like really, like, you know, those like really perky people that are always happy and gleeful no matter what. And sometimes it just annoys the piss out of you, you know?
Yeah.
Just kind of like that, you know? Like, I mean, good for him to like always be that way. But sometimes it just gets a little annoying.
I can see that, especially coming from from you. It's like, hey, now you get.
How dare these people be happy around me?
You get 2 laps per hour.
Pump the brakes, Nick.
Pump the brakes, Nick. I love it. Alan Watson's going to be joining us in the next segment. We'll get all caught up on the U.S. Open and how that's going to look. Kyle Albritton says that he'll go with 43 for the trivia question. A little
that's
high there.
Long at bat,
dude,
right
could
there.
Could you imagine? This one had over 10 foul balls.
Definitely would have needed the pitch clock for that.
Yeah, but the pitch clock doesn't stop something like this. But
no, I know, but I'm just saying. But imagine not having a pitch clock, or because they didn't have the pitch clock then when this happened. So a 43 pitch at bat would have been absolutely staggering.
That's about an hour long at bat, right?
You would think.
I mean, think about
between the batter stepping off and then the pitcher stepping off, and
the longer that an at bat gets, the more intense that kind of
the
eye locking in,
and everything kind of gets
and then the pitcher's starting to get ticked off, like both dugouts at that point. Once you get over 10, I think everyone in the building is like, all right, dude, like either strike out, put it in play, let's go. Now some people, I really get enthused by the longer that an at bat goes.
I mean, imagine being on deck and you're like, man, all right, I'm done swinging, I'm done taking practice
all my
cuts.
energy.
You're right.
I've wasted all my energy.
Yeah, by the time you get up to bat, you're cold again. You're not warmed up.
Yeah. How about Kevin Biggio? Kevin Biggio going
if there's anybody that can resurrect that young man's career at second base, it's the Dodgers.
Dude.
They need somebody at second because Lux isn't getting it done for them. Mookie's over at short. They need somebody. I thought it was a nice pickup for them. I don't know what they end up giving up for Kevin Biggio, but if there's a place for him to go to where he doesn't have any kind of pressure on him to perform, it's LA.
Is that son of Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a lot more nepotism, like, in the baseball.
Well, I mean, he was playing with the Blue Jays, and
that's like the team of nepotism.
It is
Bichette and
Glad.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You think Bo Bichette, they move on from Bo Bichette?
I do. I think it's time. I think it's time they move on from all of them.
too?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Hey, blow it up.
And honestly, the same reason I'm never going to say root for Notre Dame. I'm going to be interested in what Notre Dame is doing in 2025 when you talk about the nepotism there. But I loved the fact that the Blue Jays had all of those guys playing together, like it was
for
cool.
nostalgia purposes,
for nostalgia purposes. But when it doesn't work out, you do got to blow it up, though. Just because they got the last name doesn't mean that you should hold on to him.
And Bichette is solid, man. What did he hit last year? Like 313 or something stupid.
But
and he's not playing. Of course, all of baseball, you can say that with the exception of a handful of players are down right now. But Bichette is still a really, really good shortstop, and he's one of those pieces that one of these buyers or sellers that we're going to talk about later. If you're a buyer, you're needing a good solid shortstop. That's when you go after.
Yeah, absolutely. 5:30 is when we're going to be getting into the 7-year send-off this year. Biggio is hitting 200 right at the Mendoza line. 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases to go along with that. The Dodgers are expected to option Miguel Vargas to the minors. Doesn't look like exchange for minor league pitcher Braden Fisher. So it looks like it's just a 1v1 cash considerations as well. So I mean, that's not a
it's a win for the Dodgers. I mean, because if it works out, let's go. Right, we've got our second baseman. But if it doesn't work out, they're really not out that much.
Yeah, and like you said, they've got options right there.
Right.
They've got options. They've got options all across the field. 4 home runs last night in an inning.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, just Best player in baseball?
No, not for me right now.
Who, Ellie?
Aaron Judge.
Okay. I was about to say, what?
No,
All
Aaron
right,
Judge.
now. See, that's the one thing. This is where your arguments of Justin Herbert and even Jason Tatum, and I'm not going to give you the love for the Greg Maddux, but a lot of the takes that people say you're outlandish with, or it's a hot take. I'm like, yeah, but see, the thing is there's a lot of people who say one line things and have nothing to like change the conversation, to add to the conversation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With your takes on Justin Herbert and Jason Tatum, like you make sense with what you bring to the table about
I
it.
try to be sensible about it, right? Now, Greg Maddux, obviously, it's a lot of trolling in there, right? I mean, especially with Kyle Albritton, love you, buddy. But I still, to me, with the whole Greg Maddux thing, do I really think that propped up his entire career? No.
Not the entire career.
Not entire career.
Just the Cubs and the Padres portion of it.
No. But was he super, super talented? Yes. Was he aided immensely? Yes. 100%. Any Braves fan, Cubs fan, whomever wants to sit here and tell me that he wasn't aided by a very generous strike zone, they weren't watching the same games I was. Does that mean that he's less talented? No. Not at all. He's obviously a Hall of Famer. He's obviously one of the best pitchers we've ever seen. But to sit there and deny the fact that Greg Maddux, and above anyone else that I saw in that generation of baseball, got a lot of calls.
But would you say that because of his consistency kind of earned those calls?
To a degree, right?
I mean, the man's got to paint.
But when you need an ironing board,
company, they don't even paint nothing but the corners.
But when you need an ironing board to hit a pitch and he calls it a strike, there's something wrong here. But with Jason Tatum, right? As a Celtics fan, I go back to he's got to prove it on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think he's a top 10 player? No, I think he's top 15. I think he and Jaylen Brown are in that top 15 category. Jaylen Brown might actually be the best player on that Celtics team.
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum versus Luka and Kyrie, 2-on-2. Which duo do you take?
I'm taking Tatum and Brown's length.
I think I agree with you there too. I think that Luka is I think he's a legitimate killer. Like he's got that in him when the game is coming down to the wire. Like he finds some ways to make crazy shots, and they fall for him. But I just think that Jason Tatum, where I consider him to be a superstar, where I consider him to be is the exact reason I would say that you don't consider him a superstar. Now, there's a lot of times you get into the final 2 minutes and it's like, where did you go, Jason Tatum? But here's the other thing is when he's not on, he doesn't sit there and just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And maybe that's not a great quality, but he's found a way, and kudos to Boston on this more so than Jason Tatum because they've put such a great team around him. But when he's not scoring points, he's putting guys in the right position. He's hitting the open man. You know what I mean? So I think that there's some, and his defensive play
is a star, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I know. We're just talking about the beginning of star, super or not. Yeah.
Again, they win it. Okay, so if they win it all this year, and he is one of the primary reasons why, then absolutely you can pin that superstar on him just like you're in third grade.
There we go.
Right? But at the same time, if they don't win it this year, I mean, this year was tailor-made for them.
This year
was tailor-made for them to win it, right? Because the East is down, the West is good, but they're all beating up on each other.
The path to the finals for the Celtics was
cakewalk.
Yeah.
Right? So it was tailor-made for them. Now, they had the best record in the regular season, so granted, but they should have with the roster that was put around him.
Yeah.
But if they don't win it this year, then they're going to have a hard time winning it the next 3 or 4 before Tatum's time is done.
Quick comparison real quick. Do you think this is fair? Say they should win the championship this year. Would you compare somebody like Tatum to, say, like a Chauncey Billups and the whole team as a whole, like the Detroit Pistons, to where they won, where they really didn't have like one big star? It was a whole bunch of just role players and like Tayshaun Prince, and then they had
Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace.
You know what I'm saying? But nobody was really like the big like 1 and 2 guys like you had like a Shaq and Kobe or something.
No, I mean, again, I don't think there was a top 15 player on that Detroit Pistons team. That Detroit Pistons team just outworked you.
They beat
ran you to death.
Yeah.
Rip Hamilton in that mask, Ben Wallace down low.
Man.
Chauncey Billups hitting Big Shot Bob, right?
Tayshaun Prince looked like his
Big Shot
knuckles
Chauncey.
just
But
dragged the floor.
Tayshaun Prince with his alien gangly arms, right? I mean, like they were built different. Like this team for the Celtics is built to win in a number of ways. That Detroit team ran into the perfect team to play in that old Los Angeles Lakers team. Yeah. Right? I mean, it was Karl Malone and Gary Payton and all those guys.
Not nepotism, but
they were trying for that title that Jordan always denied them, and then you know, of course, now it's Rip Hamilton that's stopping them. But
the Lakers
just a little bit
John
different
Stockton.
build. But just a little bit different build there. But I try to come at it from a more statistical, more analytical way. But again, there's some ribbing that goes on with some of the stuff. But when we talk about Jason Tatum, I want him to succeed. I'm a Celtics fan. Like, I'm not wishing any ill will or
You're just calling it how you see
performance
it.
on him, but I'm just calling it like I see it. And I don't wish anything poor on Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert's probably a stand-up guy. I've not heard anything different, right? But until
he's more of a sit-down guy.
Well, but until he shows me that he can be that guy, I mean, come on. All you had to do in the second half of that playoff game was score 3 more points, and you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand that the defense lost the game. They gave up a bunch of points, but all you had to do is you could get 3 more, and you could.
You're not without blame. This ain't wrestling, though. It's not mano y mano. You guys riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hour number 2 is up next. We'll kind of recap some stuff, and then we'll get on the line with Alan Watson.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Him and Greg Bernicki told us what needed to happen at FSU if they ever won a national championship. We told them they were wrong, and we were wrong. We were wrong. They were right. Bring him on, the one and only Bill Allen. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Wildcat, are you recording this? I'd like to have that.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A variety of very light showers and partly cloudy skies tonight with a wind coming out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour and a low of 79. Tomorrow morning, look for possible thunderstorms and mostly sunshine with a temperature near 87. The afternoon and evening, a high around 88 and a variety of some sun and likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
ESPN Northwest Florida is an active member of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We want to introduce the newest members to the Beach Chamber: Emerald and Forgotten Coast Adventures, Florida Pro Wash, Hilton Garden Inn Panama City, the Carrington Collection, Playables, Painted Panama, the Twisted Fork Culinary Classroom, and Avid Storage, Panama City Beach, Panama City, and Lynn Haven. Congratulations from the only local sports talk station, ESPN Northwest Florida.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Behind some strong defense, clutch pitching, and a solid offense, this 2024 Brave squad's gearing up to make some noise in the National League.
Sends one soaring to right field. Back to the chop house. 3-0 Braves. He's done it again.
Tonight, the Braves road trip rolls on from Baltimore as Austin Riley and the Braves take on the Orioles at Camden Yards.
Coverage starts here after the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. It's 104.3 right here in Panama City and then 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with AG and Caveman Rick. It's a little bit of a short show, so before we get to Alan Watson, tell everyone about Fano Cards and how they can get
if
up
you get
with
a chance, check me out on Fano Cards on whatnot.com. I also have an eBay store as well, so comics and cards. Mainly baseball. I do have some football and basketball, so if you're interested in anything, let me know. Just give me a follow on there or Instagram. It's the same name, Fano Cards.
There you go. Nice and easy. That actually is a...
it was actually my AOL screen name.
Let's go, man.
I don't back
remember.
In 1996.
I think I was like Pacer Fan 115, but the first one I ever created, my cousin helped me make, and I believe he had me call my screen name Left Foot Lucy.
Well, I don't know. I was 15, so Fano Cards wasn't really like sports cards or anything.
Yeah.
It was Cardinals for Louisville.
Yeah.
And Fan of Cards was already taken at that point, so it was Fano Cards. And you know what? I thought, you know what? Let's revive that for my Whatnot screen name, and now everybody just calls me Fano. So
there you go, man. I love it too. That's a real cool nickname there. Trivia question for today: how many pitches did the longest at bat in Major League Baseball history last? 850-215-6290 for your opportunity to win $25 to not the but that boot store. You also said we had some comments rolling in over there on YouTube, which I don't monitor as frequently as what we do Facebook and the text messaging system. What are some good ones that you had over there?
Jimmy Har, who likes to chime in with us here on YouTube. He said, Herbert is good, but coaching was trash. Harbaugh will turn his career in a very positive way. Also getting back to Years and I's 2-on-2, with Jalen and Tatum. And then he says, Luka fadeaway erases length. He can shoot over anyone with his fadeaway. I said, yeah, Luka is that guy in the YMCA that shows up and everyone balks at, and then he roasts you.
Yeah, and he roasts you while he's roasting in a sweatsuit, looking like he's ready to play in the sauna. But we're going to go over to Alan Watson. Alan is the owner of Golf Plus. Alan, thank you for joining us. I know that we normally do this Thursdays at 4:20, but we moved it up a little day earlier here. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. I had a lot of stuff going on with work, and so needed to shift some things around. So I appreciate you guys kind of working me in on Wednesday, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. You always will move anything around for us, so we'll do the same for you. Any update in the NIL world for high school golf?
No, I haven't gotten any contacts. Nobody's messaged me, but you know, we're always looking for ways to expand our fan base and promote ourselves, and we do a lot of social media, and we definitely are always looking for new avenues there. So definitely, if there's some kids out there, and if something makes sense for us, we would certainly entertain it. I know there's some podcasters out there that we've been talking to, just kind of waiting for their contract to end with the current sponsor they have, and then we're going to take over for them next year, hopefully. So, you know, we're trying to find some things, but you know, being a small business owner, I don't have Ford money, I don't have Coca-Cola money, so it's a little bit harder. I to snag influencers. I definitely got to find some up and coming kids. I can't pay for the ones that are already hot and famous right now.
The ones that are already there. Hey, well, that reminds me, you know, speaking of small business, and we've got the best debate going on, so you guys can vote for us at ESPNPC.com, but you can also click on that same very link, and I believe I voted for Golf Plus today, so what did I do? I think you go to sporting, and then you guys are in the golf shops, right?
Yeah, golf shop category for sure.
Yeah, so let's go.
What Alan needs to do is go over there to Jay Henley when he's doing his classes, and then just start scouting them when they're young and talk to Jay, and then that's how you get in, Alan. Our very own Jay can help you out with that.
Yeah, I'm going to look like a real weirdo, with my ice cream van and I'm scouting little kids.
Grooming the young golfers.
No, like it's like take him some cool putters to use on the putting green, or get him some wedges or some free golf balls or something while you're out there. Just make it look like you're you know what I mean. And then go talk to Jay and go, hey, who's standing out over here? Who can I kind of where's their parents?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely want to talk to the parents first. Oh, my goodness.
Sure.
I'm not a weirdo.
I did not imply that. I hope you understand. I was not implying anything of that nature.
I know you weren't implying it, but I just, yeah, and that's the thing that really makes me uncomfortable about all this NIL stuff, whether it's high school or college or whatever. It's you know, we used to, I mean, I'm going to sound like an old fuddy-duddy when I say this. Oh, I sound like an old fuddy-duddy because I just said fuddy-duddy, but I'm going to sound old when I say this. When we were growing up, when my generation was growing up, we played sports for the love of the game. We played sports for the competition. We played sports because we wanted to emulate our sports heroes. I mean, am I wrong about that? I mean, there was nobody cared about somebody's going to give you a brand new car, or somebody's going to, you know, yeah, maybe you could be good enough to get them to pay for your college, but that was also an agreement too. That was like you were getting an education and you were going to go do that anyway, and da-da-da-da-da. It wasn't, you know, I think that we sort of crossed the line at some point. Well, I mean, it had been crossed a long time before that.
Alan's been listening to the Coach James Hale show every morning from 7 to 9.
Right, exactly. I know the line was crossed because my parents were in college in the 50s at Alabama, and they told me all about all kinds of crazy things that went on back then. So I know things were happening. Now we're just at a legal place where it's like, oh, yeah, you can do pretty much whatever you want. It's legal. That just still scares me a little bit and frustrates me because, again, we played the sport because we wanted to. And, yeah, maybe the people that are better than all the rest of us and the top 1% of 1% that actually are good enough to be professional athletes.
Well, I mean,
they do deserve something.
Golf,
us,
not
right?
to interrupt you, but golf is one of those sports though where like you see these golfers coming up that, you know, these young bucks, like, you know, I'm going to age myself here, but I remember Justin Leonard coming onto the scene, right, in the mid to late 90s, and you know, he was a club pros kid, you know, and I mean, the newer generation, right? You're looking at Justin Thomas, right? I mean, kid from Louisville. I know where his house is. I know what neighborhood it's in. He's well-to-do. He comes from money, right? There's a lot of money out there in Harmony Landing where his dad is the pro. So now I think with golf, it's more of a level playing field in terms of this NIL deal, because there's a lot of these kids that come from money that have the ability to go and get, you know, the lessons in the new clubs and things like that. I think where I differ is you know, with the new system is with basketball or football or soccer or whatever, like it's a lot easier to have access to those kinds of things, you know, on a more urban or suburban or even rural area, right? Whereas golf, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was thinking about it when we were talking about this. There's a kid down in Orlando. His name's Zevi Perez, and he's a social media star now. But when he was first coming up, his talent level was just off the charts. I mean, we're talking, you know, he looked like he could possibly be the next Tiger Woods kind of thing or whatever. And so he literally got sponsorships with Cobra Puma, with I'm thinking of who else he's got, maybe Bushnell and a couple other companies. He got sponsorships when he was like 8 or 9 years old. I mean, the kid's only like 14 now, and he still has sponsorships. He does, you know, promotes videos. He's an influencer essentially, but he's a child. I mean, like, his parents have to drive him everywhere he goes. It's the craziest thing to see it. But, you know, definitely to your point, golf is not as accessible as some other sports. There's no rec leagues for golf in most areas. You can't just go sign up at the YMCA or the rec center and be like, okay, I'm a golfer now. It doesn't work like that. You have to have some semblance of money to be able to afford to go do it and all that. And so, you know, I definitely see it's a little bit harder. And so, yeah, if there was some kid coming up that was looking like he was going to be an influencer, looking like he was going to be something that people were going to latch on to, and he didn't have the money that some of the richer kids did, yeah, of course, Golf Plus would love to be a sponsor for somebody like that. But
love that.
Again, I think this is just new territory, new waters we're all wading into, and I just, you know, we're going to have to see how it all plays out over the next couple of years.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Alan Watson. He is the owner of Golf Plus. Alan, U.S. Open coming up at Pinehurst #2. Do you have a favorite of the Pinehurst courses? I think there's 41 in a 15-mile radius.
Yeah, two's definitely the most famous, and I've actually not gotten to play those courses just yet, and I wish that I'd played them a lot sooner because now the prices have gotten outrageous over there. I know, but this is a difficult golf course. This is one of those that it kind of had a certain look, and then several years ago they redesigned it, and then a couple of years back they redesigned it again back to the original. So it's a very rough and tumble kind of golf course. The greens are abusive. It's just awful. Even par could win this tournament this week. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And whoever has the absolute tip-top short game is going to be who's going to come out on top this week. But, I'm excited for it. I mean, U.S. Opens are supposed to be tough. This one may be brutal.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you think Scotty Scheffler and his dominance continues? 5 wins here in 2024. Just absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, let's go ahead and put him in the top 5 for sure, right? I mean, probably even top 3. High chance to win. I don't know what the betting odds are on, but they're probably stupidly lopsided for him. It's probably like you got to bet $500 just to win one with the way he is playing right now. I'm looking for Colin Morikawa to step up. He's been lurking in the shadows. He came in second last week. He's just been waiting his turn. And I think he's going to play great this week. I think Bryson DeChambeau is another guy to look out for because he putts and chips so well, and this course is going to demand that. But like you said, Scotty Scheffler has to be the favorite, is the favorite. He knows it. Everybody else knows it. And, the way he operates, he doesn't have that sort of overconfident swagger where he walks up to the golf course and tells everybody else, good luck. Good luck with second place. Like he doesn't act like he's going to win. He just does win. So I feel like that him keeping himself grounded like that and not being overconfident is something that really could play into his favor because this week you're going to see some high scores. You're going to see some people make 8s on holes and make 9s on holes. You're going to see people 4 and 5 putt. And so it's like, he's the kind of guy that could make that huge mistake and still come back from it, where other guys might just get mentally exhausted from making a bad score and they might not ever recover.
Alan, we saw a video, I don't know if you did or not, but I saw a video, I think it was green number 2, where they just softly dropped a ball onto the green and it rolled for 40 seconds.
Yeah,
right, for 40 seconds. Yeah. So the greens are stimping at like 12. I think they said whenever they designed the course, they had the green stimping at around 6, which now it's twice as fast, which is basically like glass for anybody that's out there. It's like you're putting on glass.
Yeah.
Do you think at some point there's, because the U.S. Open is always supposed to be the toughest major, right? The toughest tournament out there to win in terms of conditions of the course and whatnot. Is there a point to where it goes from just supremely tough to just strictly, unfair and just not in keeping with the tradition?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember a few years ago, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the golf course. I want to say it was in California, but I may be wrong. But U.S. Open, I remember watching Ernie Els get on the green and 9 putt or something ridiculous. I mean, it was awful. It was brutal to watch. The ball just kept going off and then back on, and then he'd get close and he'd run 4 feet by, and then he'd go 6 feet by the other way. That is when you get to the point of just ridiculousness, and it turns into goofy golf, and we don't need to see that. I mean, tough is one thing, but ridiculous is not. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But if it gets really out of control after day 1 or day 2, you might see them, watering the greens heavily. You might see them not mowing them or not rolling them to try to make it somewhat more consistent and a little bit, I wouldn't say easier on the players, but more fair might be the right word. So, but yeah, there is a break point, and we have seen it within the last 10 or 15 years in the U.S. Open. And you've already got players complaining, and they hadn't even hit the first tee ball for the tournament. So we're going to have to see what happens.
Hey, Alan, real quick, not talking about this weekend, but this past weekend, or on Friday, actually, did you get to see any of the highlights or get to see that shot? I believe, what was it, Xander Schauffele with that cliffhanger shot from the bunker that went up to the flag stick, hung over there by the hole just for a second or two, kind of like reminiscent of the Tiger shot, and then fell in the cup?
I didn't see it. I did get to watch a decent amount of the tournament, but it was mostly Saturday and Sunday that I got to watch, so I didn't see it on Friday.
One of our callers actually called us in like right after it happened, and me and David, we actually watched it again, like the highlight, like a few minutes after it happened live, I believe.
Yeah, it was Cobb, a.k.a. Rob.
Those are always fun.
Oh, Cobb, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, those are always fun. I mean, obviously it's hard to tell when you're out on the golf course whether a ball is going to fall in or not, and that doesn't happen very often. And you've got 10 seconds or whatever it is to get there before you have to hit it again. Ryan Mulvey could help us with that ruling, but definitely that's always exciting. I mean, the fans love stuff like that, and of course the player appreciates when the ball goes in rather than him having to waste another stroke to knock it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, coming up in this tournament, could be some movement going for the Olympics, because I think it's like the top 4 in the world rankings as far as America goes will represent Team USA. Do you pay as much attention to Olympic golf as you do maybe the Ryder Cup?
No, because it's just not, golf has not been an Olympic sport long enough for it to really have a rich history and to have records that we really care about and all that. I think it's neat, but the game of golf is already so international, more so than other sports. And so I think that the Olympics, I don't want to say they don't matter in golf, but they're just sort of this extraneous part of that world. It's not something that, we're going to have the same conversations about like we're having about women's basketball for the Olympics and other things like that are so important. I remember from my childhood, track and field was a big part of the Olympics and things like that, swimming, diving, things like that. Those were things we thought about, and that was what you thought of as Olympic sport. We never thought about golf because it wasn't. And so now we're in a place where it is, and I just think it's going to take a little bit of time before anybody really cares. Now, that being said, I bet the players care, and I bet they think it's neat to be able to represent their country, but I don't think the golf world as a whole is enthralled by Olympic golf just yet.
There you go. All right, and we're out of time already, so give me the product that you are loving at Golf Plus, Alan.
We just got in G4, which is kind of a luxury brand for golf. We just got in some bags and some shoes into the PCB store and a couple of bags up in the Dothan store, and we've got more on the way. So G4, a new line for us. It's a premium line and absolutely gorgeous, and they just are so much nicer than a lot of the stuff that you've seen before out there in shoe and bags. So if you're looking for a super nice Father's Day gift for Dad, or if you just want to treat yourself, come see us and check out G4.
Absolutely. Alan, thank you so much for your time, my friend, and we'll catch up with you next Thursday.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Alan Watson, he is the owner of Golf Plus. We've got 2 great locations. One right here, shops at Edgewater and Panama City Beach, right next door to Firefly. And then one in Dothan, Alabama. You can go to ESPNPC.com, click on the Best of Bay voting. Go vote for Golf Plus as well. You'll have to do a little searching to get to Golf Plus, as the link is for the shows. But vote for the 3 shows as well. Coach James Hale Show, the Inside Drive, the Afternoon Underdogs, and Sam Peebles also on the list as well. So 4 of the 5 radio selections there are involved with ESPN Northwest Florida. So make it happen. We appreciate all of your votes. We appreciate all the time that you spend listening to us as well. We're 9 minutes away from the 7-year send-off. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't go anywhere.
ESPN Northwest Florida is celebrating 7 years of broadcasting history by giving you a chance to win the Atlanta Braves 7-year send-off.
That is gone!
Listen weekdays at 7:40, 12:40, and 5:40 to qualify for the grand prize. 2 amazing tickets in the Xfinity Club to see the Atlanta Braves Saturday, September 7th versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Plus hotel and spending cash from ESPN Northwest Florida, PCB Hobby, Pepsi, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas, and Home 2 Suites.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. A variety of very light showers and partly cloudy skies tonight, with a wind coming out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour and a low of 79. Tomorrow morning, look for possible thunderstorms and mostly sunshine with a temperature near 87. The afternoon and evening, a high around 88 and a variety of some sun and likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
It's dangerous.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
7 minutes away from the 7-year send-off. Since 2017, you guys have made us the go-to for the Atlanta Braves and the Panhandle, so it's our turn to return the favor. And you've got to listen weekdays at 7:40 on the Coach James Heller Show, 12:40 on the Inside Drive, 5:40 on the Afternoon Underdogs. But today it's 5:30. We'll get back to 5:40 tomorrow afternoon. We give you that cue to call. You be caller number 10, 850-215-6290. You automatically go in to win a great qualifying prize, which is normally a swag bag with a $10 Swampy Jack gift card, and then you'll go into the grand prize drawing to win an all-inclusive trip to see the Braves take on the Blue Jays. That'll be Saturday, September 7th. That's brought to you by PCB Hobby, Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas Drive, and by Home 2 Suites. Speaking of Father's Day, as Alan brought up not too long ago in the previous segment, shout out to him for coming on with us. But my dad texted in, we were talking about the dead ball earlier. He says a dead ball does not factor in when guys that normally hit the ball are either called out on strikes or go down swinging. The Orioles swept the Rays because the Orioles put the bat on the ball and the Rays did not. The Braves are looking very similar this series, just saying. So a good point there. I mean, if you're striking out, the dead ball ain't going to have any effect.
It's the old adage, right? Of, in the postseason that, good pitching neutralizes a good offense, right? So that's granted. But when you see balls being hit at, that 104, 105 exit velo, and the launch angle is right.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not going out of a place like Great American Ballpark.
Right.
That's when you start going, okay, there's something going on. There's something weird. Like Atlanta, we're not seeing the same number of home runs. So there's something going on.
And I don't think that was a disagreement about the dead ball at all. Just it's one of those things that as a friend,
hard to hit it out when you don't hit it at all.
Right. And I think that's because he's a Rays fan. He likes the Braves as well, follows them, but he's more of a Rays fan. And so it's frustrating watching the Braves, watching the Rays, watching the Reds, whatever, when you're watching your team and it's a bunch of strikeouts, which last year, I mean, it's not like the Braves, were leading the league and not striking out. When the long ball is something that you live by, you're a little bit more susceptible to striking out as well there. So, great stuff. 4 minutes now until the 7-year send-off. Looks like we're not going to get a trivia winner for today either. So I'll save that one till tomorrow. College World Series, actually NBA Finals, since we've got Game 3 tonight, right? Do you think with the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, the Dallas Mavericks can get back into the series when they're here in Dallas?
If they don't get this one, they're done.
Okay, so it's got to be tonight's game.
Yeah, they have to get this one done. They've got to get off the schneid. They've got to get Kyrie Irving going, especially at home, because he's been the key, right? I mean, you've seen his performance in these first 2 games. It's not been up to par. I think he would even agree with that. And you see the depth of Boston and their ability to shoot the ball.
Nobody's came back down from 0-3 in basketball either.
Oh, yeah, I don't think Dallas has a real shot of winning this series.
I say going in, it was Boston in 5.
Yeah, gentlemen sweep, and then I now with the absence of Kristaps Porzingis, I'm thinking maybe they can get 6. Like they'll win one of these next 2, then possibly win one. They have to win one in Boston, Game 5 essentially, or
they got to win 1 here first in Dallas.
Exactly. So. They got to win one here.
And then college baseball is the ACC SEC challenge.
Yeah, the ACC SEC challenge. What are you thinking about that one? Let's just answer it like this, since we don't have a lot of time left in today's show. The ACC or the SEC? Which one produces the champ?
ACC.
Florida State?
No. NC State.
NC State, the Wolfpack. They took care of business
They're the
against
last
Georgia.
team to get in.
Well, the thing is if you look at the way they're playing right now, I don't know if you watched any of that Georgia series, but every single time Georgia made a run at them, they answered right back.
Yeah. So, they blew them out in the first game. Second game, Georgia kind of answered back and got their own little
in that third game, man, it was nip and tuck there for a little bit, and then you see Georgia kind of pulling closer, and the later innings, and NC State just blew them away. So I like the way they're playing right now. I feel like they're a team that doesn't have to rely on the long ball, which out there in Omaha, it's where balls go to die.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really, really good thing for them. Kentucky's pitching is really, really good, so that's who they play first. But if they get past Kentucky, then I think NC State could take it all.
Man, they're just like Florida's a team who barely got in by the skin of their teeth, right? Obviously, the schedule that they had was the toughest in the nation, and but they finished up the regular season and the SEC tournament 28-27. They get in, and now they're on a run. You look at Florida State, really great pitching, really great across the board. North Carolina kind of the same way. I would say, I think that you could make the argument that the ACC side of things is better than the SEC side of things.
I would say more of the top.
I think I'm hot. I'm AGing right there.
No, I think it's more of the top of the ACC is what you're seeing versus.
Oh, I'm not
more
talking
of
about the conference. I'm talking about the four teams that we have here versus the four teams that we have there.
I hear you.
No, conference is not even close.
Nope, there we go.
All right, it is time. 850-215-6290. We're looking for caller number 10. Doing a little, about a minute early there, but that's all right though, because we've got to get out of here at 5:33, and I know how it is on that side of the board when you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a nice little, exercise over there for Caveman Rick and his left hand. Kyle Albert, it says kick yourself off your own show. I had to say something that was just, they're like talking about the ACC, giving the ACC some love, but Florida State's the team that I'm rooting for. Texas A&M is the team who I think wins it all.
Here's my thing. I think we missed out on having Charlie Condon and Travis Bazzana in there with Jack Kecklin on. Having those two guys in there would have been awesome.
Yeah.
On that stage.
What else is awesome is just having this bed play underneath us while we're talking. Right. I think it adds a little
I feel like I'm playing
energy.
An 80s video game.
Yeah, there you go. Did you ever play the ping pong game? I think it was called table tennis. I think it was just called table tennis when the Xbox, I want to say it was the 360, when it first came out. That was one of the cheap games that you could get, and it kind of just showed off the graphics and how updated they were and whatnot. That's what this feels like to me. Or like Gran Turismo, maybe.
Well, I was thinking more like Road Rash. Where you get the motorcycles and you would drive around. It was very basic. It's more like pole position.
Okay, gotcha.
Kind of like pole position, but with motorcycles, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. David Deaton picked up a prize today, and he is back in the winner's bracket. David, how are you doing this afternoon, my friend? We're getting to know each other pretty well, huh?
Yeah, I just saw you a few hours ago.
Yes, sir, man. Well, we've got all of your information, so I guess I'll ask you tonight. Tonight, what do we got? Oh, Swellenbach trying to get on the right track here, going up against Povich of the Orioles. Do you think that the Braves bounce back and break that 4-game win streak or losing streak?
No, not tonight.
We keep on losing then. Hey, I can't disagree with you too heavy. The only thing I think that's in our favor tonight is that Povich has a high ERA, actually higher ERA than what...
second career start, I think, for Povich.
Well, there you go. But it's Swellenbach, this is going to be a third. So it could be one of those that we get a fortuitous bounce, but I'm with you. I think that we keep on rolling with a 5-game losing streak. David, thank you so much for calling in and playing with us, my man, and we'll keep you updated on if you end up being the 7-year send-off winner, all right?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great stuff there. I think that's either his third or fourth time winning. Chef Ross said you're cheating. I'm not going to say the other word that he said, but I don't think David's cheating by any means. He is calling a lot of caller 5 was what Chef Ross was today. Obviously, he's not saying
number
that David
3. 3 times for David Deaton.
3? That was his third time? All right, so third time for David Deaton.
He's got that rhythm going.
Hey, there you go, man. And it's It's tough because those we've got two lines, right? And we can only put one of them on air. So, you answer that first one and it's just bang, 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 bang. Like, honestly, there's sometimes where before we even go to commercial break, when I'm running it on that side, on the inside drive, before we even get to the commercial break, boom, caller number 10.
And we got people calling earlier. We'll mention it's going to be like in 6 or 7 minutes, and there's people calling in.
Boom.
It's awesome. That means we're wanted, we're listened to. It's awesome.
And they're itching for tickets.
Well, there you go. And here's the thing is, don't fret. If you don't win this 7-year send-off, it's okay, because I've got tickets to give away coming up very, very soon, like this month type soon, very soon into July, and then we'll cool off a little bit and let you guys get into August. But we are out of time. Jesus loves you. So do I. You'll have a great day. Your next opportunity for the 7-year send-off, 7:40. Thanks to everyone who was a part of the show today.
America's team plays here.
And a rocket to right field. This thing is into orbit.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Acuna, Ozzie, and Austin Riley lead the Braves' high-powered offense.
Swung on, belted, deep right field. Get out of here, Ozzie. Home run. Ball game.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Brock's Pest Control. Store more portable buildings, reliable hydraulic solutions. Bill Bird